Hi, folks. Adrian here. Just wanted to try something a little different. Lauren and I got really geeky about Misfits and Magic over on Dimension 20, and I wanted to kind of like share that geekiness to you, but also I wanted to try a different, style of podcast and recording and show. So I hope you'll enjoy this untitled thing that I haven't figured out what I want to call it. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy. Hi, my name is Adrian, and I don't know what this is right now, but I'm trying something new with my friend Lauren.
Hello.
Yeah, and both of us are very big nerds or fans of, well, both nerds and fans for Dimension 20. And I just wanted to talk about this last episode of the Dimension 20's new campaign called Misfits Magic. It's not using the normal D&D, it's using Kids on Brooms, which is like an offshoot of Kids on Bikes, which doesn't use as much magic, but still some sort of mystery and whimsy there, which I thought was really cool. Using a new system is not kind of foreign because they've done it in Critical Role, has used One Shot with Allie Beardsley, and they use a whole different system. So like
That was the monsters,
Monster
like
Hearts.
monster
There you go.
monster
Yeah.
hearts. It was monster. I did watch that one. I did see
Yes.
that one. It was just a bunch of horny teens. That was a
Exactly.
little it was a little different system. But yeah, both are not D&D modules. They're completely separate TTRPG systems. It's not the same skill. Yeah.
Correct, correct. For like Monster Hearts, it's hot and cold. For this one, they use grit, charm, fight, flight, those kind of things. And they use their whole D20 to D4. That's how you stat out, which is what I want to say is almost like very easy for new individuals to kind of like come into, so they don't have to remember so many numbers. Just these are the dice for these rolls, and then you get to learn them a little faster. Like, oh, I'm not the fastest, so my flight's gonna be smallest. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, have you ever played, Adrian? Have you ever played the Kids on Brooms or the
Uh,
bikes?
no,
Either one?
not yet. I When I interviewed Carlos Luna way back when, I had watched one of his streams with his. I think it's called. It's not Rivals of Waterdeep. I think it might just been through the Roll20 Twitch, and I thought that system was kind of cool, and they played off each other very well. So I had a small understanding. I have played other systems other than D&D, but like I've had an inkling of like I've seen things, but I haven't been able to play them because forever GM, and it's hard to kind of get people into a new
Yeah,
system.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I have not played the Kids on Broom system, and I was trying to understand it. Like I have I'm the type of person who, like, if you explain a game to me, like even a board game, I will not understand it until I start playing. So Abria did a great job up top of explaining Kids on Brooms, and then as soon as it started, I was like, wait, I didn't catch any of that. Like, I'm not going to get it until along the way. And then at the end of the episode, I actually went back to the beginning and I actually rewatched her explanation like multiple times
Hmm.
before I think I got it. But it's you're not repeating dice, right? So like it's like six or seven different die,
I
and
think
then
yeah,
only one per skill, right?
correct. Yeah,
Is
and
that correct?
that is correct. And they get
Cool.
to
Yeah.
explode, which is super cool. You see that in like I want to say the first roll.
Something like that, yeah. That the explode thing wasn't explained up top, so I was like, "Wait, what do you mean explode?" Like, so exploding is when you hit the top die or the top number on the die, right? And you get
Right.
to roll again and add the new number.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Which
it was
all
very exciting.
Yeah, which kind of helps out. Like the different difficulty and skill level is like, only if you're really lucky, you hit four fours in a row and you can actually do this feat. But normally it's going to be very difficult. Like it's not impossible to get those
Right.
higher DCs. Like when I first seen it and they're like, you have a DC 8 and he's rolling a D6. I'm like, that's impossible. How does he do that? Well, one, you can also add adversity tokens, which
Right.
are gained by random encounters. What it seems like when I rewatched it, she was just like handing them out when something happened, as well
Well,
as
she was doing both when something cool happened that she thought they deserved them, but also she was handing them out when you failed a roll
Oh, okay.
so that you get to actually fail forward, I think is how she explained it.
I thought it was like just like you've overcome something, but think I must have missed it on my second watch through. But the cool, something cool, I mean, I do that all the time with my tokens for at least inspiration. But yeah, I totally missed that on the first run through.
Yeah, I had to kind of. It was in the explanation at the front that I rewatched a few times, where she's
Mm-hmm.
like, "If you fail a roll, you'll get an adversity token. That way, you can kind of put that adversity forward to something in the future that you might be able to help yourself succeed at
Right.
later."
Right. And I think that's a really good system because like when you fail in D&D, it's just that's it. Try again later. But with this, it's
Yeah.
like your character, if you mess up enough, you can actually like, okay, I've been through a lot of crap. Let me try. I can use these tokens to kind of like help myself achieve something this game or this like session kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because your dice can totally mess you over.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen. Do they have a D20 for something? Do they use the D20 for one of their skills? Because that's really difficult. Well, I guess maybe not, right? Because you could always roll higher on a D20
Mm-hmm.
and like without having to, nat 20, right?
Right. But I think the other thing is that because we don't see it too often, but they can also go for half of their die if
Right.
and then also from what I could tell because I think Brennan needed like an 18 for something. He did half of his die, but he also had skill points in the background that I just like okay, I didn't see where that came from because like there's not like a sheet, they just have their image, right? When they like
Yeah.
compared to like Mouses and Murders where they have their stat blocks. They
Oh yeah, the original Eminem.
yeah, exactly. um and the they have something on the background because like even after the magic add your magic die, which she said a lot through that first episode.
Right. Yeah, you add your magic die when you're using magic.
Right.
As opposed to, oh, and I'm very excited to see what was that thing she said about the homebrew rule they're doing.
Hmm.
That's if you use the common fucking sense rule, that if you
Yeah.
use common sense to deal with some magic bullshit, then you automatically succeed or something, or you get like a plus. Do you remember that?
Yeah, she's yeah. Well, I thought it was like you just do it, or is it like because I think she might be playing off this idea of like these wizards and magicians are all just using whimsy and wonderful, and then you're just like, I'm going to pick up the cup and put it here and like do it. That I think that's probably what's going to come up sooner or later, where it's like,
Yeah,
why are we
I
doing
take
all
my
this?
gun out and I shoot Voldemort in the head. Yeah, it's that.
It's, the gang goes to a armor smith to find some kinetic projectiles. It's a gun. Just
Yes,
say it's a gun.
it's a gun.
But yeah, I'm also interested in that. I mean, because here's the thing though, when Abria was trying like, what do you want it to do, and they were just saying like, I want it to work.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's like, I don't know. Either A, they're playing their character just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna try this one thing, but like, I'm like, you gotta tell her, and she's gonna tell you if it works or not. And it's like, because like D&D is such like, oh, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do, and she's just like, what do you want to happen? It's like so much like information, just like what could happen, kind of thing.
Yes. It's very interesting with Abria's style of
Hmm.
DMing as well, with like where she'll tell you something that you don't see. Like in that moment when she's like, you don't see the owl getting sucked up into darkness. And Brennan's like, I don't see that. Excuse me. But it's very cool for the audience to be able to kind of know, like that's a very cinematic moment.
Oh yeah.
You don't see everything that the characters see. It's very ominous, and something dark is brewing, but we're not sure what, and the characters aren't sure what. It's really interesting.
See, I think that's like Brennan's style is always like whatever's in the background is going to be in the background, and I'll reveal it later. He has a
Right.
longer form session, but Abria has these like brief moments, like, oh, you're gonna see what's in the background. Here's what's going on, because like if she doesn't say it, it'll never happen in that world, or like we don't know. But she's gonna let us know because I have this short amount of DM time. Let me use it to my fullest. Let me show you what's in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very curious because this is only supposed to be 4 episodes,
Right?
and how we're gonna fit. I mean, gosh, like how we're gonna fit this much into 4 episodes. But the first episode's like 3 hours, right?
Right. Like
So
two and
maybe
a
they're
half, I think.
longer episodes
Maybe. But
because they only shot it over a weekend, I believe, is how they shot it.
hmm
So, oof,
I think that's also like I mean, because I feel like that's how they did most shoots at D20, just like over a
yes,
weekend, or just multiple sessions in one. And that's like, as a DM, that's a lot of information you have to keep flowing through. So like, to each of
yeah.
those DMs credit, amazing, good job, wonderful. I don't know if I could do that, but it's something else.
Yeah, I mean, I think usually for at least even the longer side quests, they'll do it over a couple weekends. I don't think they've done it like one weekend.
Oh yeah, no.
That's a pretty short amount of time because there's usually longer episodes or longer, there's more episodes usually.
hmm
But so something else I'm very interested in and why they did it, how they did it as far as changing up that the game system, right?
hmm
Because there's been a lot of talk on Twitter for previous seasons where they haven't changed up the system.
hmm
And people want to complain and they can feel free to do so.
Yep, that's Twitter.
When for instance with Mice and Murder where they people were saying, well, there's plenty other systems that are more conducive to a murder mystery than D&D. But personally, and I think Brennan might feel this way as well, it's fascinating to take D&D as a system and to manipulate that to be whatever you want it to be. You don't have to be in the classic, Lord of the Rings-esque setting.
hmm
You can do something that is, high school fantasy high school. You can
Yeah.
do these different types of things. So it's kind of fun to stretch and manipulate D&D as a system, to however you want. So it's very interesting that now that we're having a new GM,
hmm
that now we're trying a different system. And I wonder if that was something that Abria, I don't know if this has been released already, if they've talked to her about this or released this information somewhere. I haven't seen it, but
Right.
I wonder if it was her choice to just pick whatever you want to do and just do it.
Right. I think that, I mean, that is a good point. Like, I personally don't know of many other systems, but like the Twitterverse is vast. They're gonna know something I don't know. But when you say that, like, well, we're using D&D and we're just gonna like see if it works in this system. Well, now we get to see like, okay, with this other GM, what else can we do, and what other system can we introduce? I wonder if they're gonna even like grow from this as well, or is it gonna be like we'll have some offshoots with different kinds of systems type of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's hope. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, introducing different, especially that I don't think Dimension 20 is necessarily affiliated with, Wizards of the
Yeah.
Coast or any of that. So it's not like they are necessarily limited.
hmm
I think, and this is just a guess here from what I've heard from Brennan, but, it sounds like a lot of the coming up with the new seasons and coming up with new worlds, most of the worlds that he's come up with have been, aside from A Crown of Candy, have been just essentially a parody of something else or a world that's already been built, right? Like he hasn't had to do, there's production schedules that he only has so much time.
hmm
But if you asked him to like play a whole new system, to run an entirely new system where he seems very comfortable DMing for, a D&D setting. So it just might be that kind of a, production confliction, but who knows?
I know. That's what this is for. Just figure out things.
Right.
I want to go
So
back.
what do you think of the
Go ahead.
characters?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I liked Kelp.
Kelp.
Yeah, Kelp. I don't know, cause like this kind of like, at first I thought it was just like, oh, he's, quote unquote, like just this random kid, this nobody of influence, or nobody of like, with you have the athlete, you have the internet troll almost, I don't know, or not, the anti-internet troll, and then you have the influencer, and then you have this guy. And I thought it was just so interesting. Like, okay, Brennan's kind of like playing, and at first I thought like how he was like portraying him. I thought he was like a what's that lemon drop guy from like kind of like almost pitiful.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I'm like, but no, it's not pitiful. There's like backstory and like I'm trying to get rid of this thing, and that's why I gravitated towards Kelp.
Yes. Have you just quick question.
Yeah,
Have you seen the chat,
I did not see the
the
chat actually.
the new episode of the Oh, okay. They talk a lot about it, kind of why they chose their characters in the new episode, The Adventuring Party. And it's very interesting because Brennan talks a lot about how when talking about like, okay, what is the best fit for a PC for him, because he's not used to, having to stick to a character for
Right.
these games. If an NPC isn't interesting, it's like, well, kill him off, or you don't have to see them ever again. But Evan Kelp is like that character that is like very Voldemort-esque, right? He's got
Right.
all of these, or Tom Riddle rather.
Right. Correct.
All the tropes of like, oh well, this kid is nasty. Like there's something lying underneath, and he's just like, I don't want any of this. No, thank you. And that is very interesting to see where that's gonna go. If he's just gonna go up, like once he's ridden of his dark magic, he's just gonna go back to being some guy.
But then
I don't
like
know.
he's still like I guess character wise he'd still be able to play in the system. He just wouldn't have a magic die. Like is he then having to work his way to get out of there, or will that be the fourth episode? I don't know. I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting. And because he's kind of like mostly refusing to use magic, is he gonna be using that common sense thing more often? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool to see it. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Um,
Huh.
Because like I mean, we don't know where they're going or how fast they're gonna go because they gotta go pretty fast for 4 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, they all have it's gonna be, I think, about the world, right?
Right.
Because none of them have necessarily distinct goals. No, they don't
Mhm.
have something to get out of it aside from Evan
Right.
Kelp.
Yeah.
Aside from Evan, none of them, or all of them, are just kind of along for the ride. Though Dream,
Uh-huh.
aka XX Broken Dream XX Erika Ishii, uh, she's going through a journey right now that she's not necessarily willing to be on.
Mm-hmm.
With the, you know, she wants to be all dark and broody, but she's got a little tiny chipmunk that is pink and rides a little bicycle, and a pink wand seems to be her underlying, what her magic kind of actually manifests as, which is very interesting. I love Erica. I really love Erica. And anything she does, she's just wonderful. So, and I really identify with Dream as far as like, I knew a lot of people back in that time. Like, she's really going into the time capsule of this is the type of emo kid,
Yes.
teen emo kid that during the time that like Harry Potter was coming out.
You're like, I can't wait for my
Yeah.
powers. It's gonna be super exciting. Always trying to move
Yeah,
things
I
with
haven't
your
got my letter
hands.
yet.
I like this interesting like dream. I don't know if there's gonna be like some sort of romantic fling, but like I've seen some fan art of just like like super Erica just looking at Brennan's character and just like
Yes.
just swooning, and then she. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if they're gonna play that into this, but I think it's an interesting dynamic that's going on because like I don't think we've had any characters in the past that have been like super like in love with each other. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
the PC
PCs.
romance.
Yeah, exactly. Like we
Yeah,
see
I
other
feel like
NPCs
that
and
happened
PCs. Sorry.
recently. Well, aside from last season on Mice and Murder, when we
Mhm.
had,
True.
we had Grant and Reika's character kind of had that past together,
Right.
but they didn't necessarily build something new.
Correct. Yeah.
But that was the first time I think we saw the PC romance.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be Brennan, right? Like if we were gonna have a PC romance, it would be when Brennan is PC, because he's everyone's romantic interest in every season. So
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That makes much sense. He knows what this character's like.
Yeah, he's got plenty of he's got plenty of history being that kind of romantic interest for other PCs.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting whether or not that is something that comes to fruition.
But yeah, what about your favorite character?
Yeah, I do love Dream, and her whole journey is very interesting to me. I was not aware of Danielle Radford before this season, so I'm curious to see how kind of what her characters, if she goes on any journey or she's going to be this kind of one note, I'm an influencer, I'm here to like take selfies and like like what kind of journey her character will go on. Yeah, what do you think about Sam Black?
Sam Black, I think. I felt like so when they were doing that influence, like, hey, turn off your camera and everything. I feel like these all four of these characters were like, or actually, two of these characters were like, hey, world, what the hell's going on in the magic world? Like, hey, cut it out. So I'm interested if Daniel Redford's like influence, like persona is gonna be like, she's either gonna be part of this like influencer inside the magic world, or is she gonna leak magic? But as a person, I've this is my first time like seeing her on media, so I hadn't known who she was before. So it's quite I'm interested. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to see what their I guess push into this world is. Their influence as an influencer, I guess, into this world is going to
Right.
be.
Right. Yeah, and when they were talking on Adventuring Academy about their character
Hmm.
creation and all that, I think for both Danielle and for Lou Wilson, their thought was, who's the worst person? Who's the worst person to have this kind of magical thing, this magical presence, be like, hey, you're a part of the magic world as you're almost an adult at this point.
Hmm.
You're not a young child anymore. And it was like, okay, somebody who is constantly online,
Hmm.
who's if they disappeared, it would be like if they had to go off the grid, who would be the worst person to have that happen to? And it's an influencer,
Right.
because they are always online, doing whatever. And for Lou Wilson, it's just like, oh yes, some guy who just wants to play basketball. Like he doesn't have something missing that's at least readily apparent.
Right.
But I love that his familiar is his own basketball. I
Right.
love that.
That was amazing. I like that. Did they speak if that was like preconceived or is it like on the spot with Abria?
I don't think their familiars were chosen ahead of time. I don't think so. But they didn't say that out. They didn't say that.
Right. But I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, it also like kind of developed their character as well. Like every piece that they picked themselves or was picked for them through whatever actions they did was also its own character development. Like besides of them being, the influencer athlete, the goth girl or kelp, uh,
Yeah.
they kind of formed the characters, and Abria kind of gets to like, okay, I want to see how they react to this, and as a GM, they're just like, do they vibe with that, or am I picking the wrong thing, right? Am I understanding their character as we talked about it before, or is there something misconceived? And I think that as an individual who's kind of like had played recently with new players, like that was tough because I'm trying to figure out their personality so I can make a story for all of them as best as I can. And for this is
Yeah.
what's going on here. I don't know if she's testing the water. Are they going to think positively or negatively? What's going on here? But also, I think she has a lot more confidence than I do. So I think she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, one thing that I don't know that they said in the regular episode, but they said afterwards about at least Sam Black's character,
Hmm.
or the character of Sam Black, that's not her real name. Was that in the episode? Do you remember?
The episode, they said, do I need to change my name to be more illiterate? Like alliteration because of all the things that were going on. Was like, oh, the knave and the something. Like they were all had something to it. So she was changing her username. She never said that was not her actual name.
Got it. Yeah. So Sam Black is apparently an alias. It's an internet alias. So there's maybe some more she has to hide there, or something behind her character. I'm not sure.
That's
But
interesting.
Yeah, I do love that they're this little crew, and it's very cute. They're all kind of like they're all playing off each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
It just it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. Okay, I wanted to speak on this because she said don't roll more than 5 over again, and I'm like, what does that mean when at the end of the episode?
Remind me what that was. She said don't roll over 5
Because Brennan
again.
had
When?
sent
At what point?
Brennan says I'm not an evil wizard and shoots Digby into not the ocean but just like crack him.
Oh.
But so he started describing something and then she's like I'm here for it. But I'll tell you next time when to properly or like what actually happens. Like you tell me what you want to happen and then I'll tell you what happens. But then she
Oh,
also added in at the end says don't roll over a 5 again or a 5
yes.
over.
So that had to have been because he said, I don't want to kill him.
Mhm.
I want to just like have this happen. And she said, you don't usually get to choose
Ah.
if that happens. So this time I'll let it slide. But I think she said, don't do that again because he would have just died. I think he would have just killed the kid. Um,
Oh.
I, I, I believe that's what that would have been about. Yeah.
Oh boy, that is
Because it's
interesting.
if you roll over a 5, something like it's a lot. It's I don't know if it's like a nat 20 in D&D, like something crazy happens, and then if you roll under a 5, something interesting happens. Under 5 of what
The DC
what
was.
the DC would be. Yeah. So
Oh,
probably just would have killed the kid.
that's that's awesome and horrible and evil. But I to already have over that ability because he took half, right?
Yeah.
So he's just a dangerous character to go against.
Oh yeah. I mean, he is the Tom Riddle.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. He's got a lot of latent dark stuff underneath there. I am very curious about this bird situation because I know part of that was about Evan's
Uh
character,
huh.
like the character of Evan being this kind of latent darkness. But if there is another darkness that is out there, what
Mm-hmm.
happened to that bird? That big
That's
ass bird.
that's an interesting point that I didn't even think about. Like,
That's got to be the darkness, like something out there.
yeah,
And it would Evan be on its side, like or like, you know what I mean? Like
right. See,
deal with that bird.
hey, look at that big ass bird. I love that
That
line.
big ass bird. Lou kills me every time.
I
I love
absolutely
Lou
love
so much.
Lou. He's amazing. Okay, so like, okay, see, the other thing was thinking, like, like you said, is it on its side or is this a totally different thing? Why was the shadow already manifesting in the bird? Was it because he was Kelp even supposed to be invited,
I don't
or
know.
was some other entity kind of controlling this bird to, to give the letter to him? And
Yeah.
I don't know. It just like just so much stuff going on, and I just like I don't know if they had previously spoken about it like as a session zero, but like it seems like a lot of things are being revealed as the story progresses, and like the other characters are just either really good actors or they're actually reacting in real time. Like, oh my god, what's going on?
Yeah. It's I don't think that they've I don't know, maybe they've had one-on-ones with Abria to
Mm-hmm.
talk about these things that maybe the other characters don't know about,
Right.
or the other players don't know about. I don't know. But it's I feel like there's only a limited amount of information that they know,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I'm
Yes.
very curious to see what the big bad is going to be in this 4 episodes,
I feel like it's
you
just like
know.
the Wizarding. Oh, here's my guess. It's gonna be the Wizarding Society as a whole, and just like them keeping all this stuff to themselves and staying away from the world. Like this bleed into like intertwining these two worlds. I feel like that might be it, but I could be totally wrong. I just feel like from what we've met from the Wizarding world, there are a bunch of like pompous Brits. Nothing against Brits, just that's the character that I felt like it was going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm excited as well. But I got these theories. I got some ideas, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have hoped that we could have at least seen the school by the end of this episode. And maybe that has to do with, all the time that was wasted on various things that Abria wasn't accounting for.
Right.
But just to kind of really get a feel with what we're dealing with here.
I feel like that's why she expedited the wand shop thing. Like, we just gotta go. We gotta
go. The brooms as well. It's like, just tell me, because they had a broom, I think, that they already had
right
on their character sheets. So I think it was just like, tell me what your character sheet says, and let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they're just, being actors, and they're just like, let's tell a story. And I'm like, well, okay, we can move on with the story. I got a time limit right here. I want to tell a story too.
Well, of course, but also, as I think all of them, or at least most of them, were Harry Potter nerds growing up. It's like, you give these people a chance to like live in that world.
Yeah.
You want to go shopping for brooms. You want to go, have a wand choose you. You want to be able to play that up. So I think, of course they're going to get lost in it. Of course they're going to have this moment of like, ooh, I just want to, pick out my broom. I'm going to find the one that's supposed to be for me.
Live their fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, live. That's why they go to the, you go to the parks and do all that.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I was really kind of waiting for during the episode that didn't really happen was kind of anybody really mentioning, like, I don't know, not mentioning necessarily, but kind of saying, we're not glorifying Harry Potter here because,
right.
But in the Adventuring Academy, there was a moment where they were like, all things set aside, they all said fuck turfs, and they were like, yeah, fuck turfs, which, I don't know, I guess I would have liked kind of a little more woven into the episode itself, personally, because I have a weird relationship with that whole thing now, and it feels like, all right, well, we're parroting Harry Potter, and that's all good and well, but like, let's be clear that we're not trying to like make people feel so nostalgic that they kind of forget what at the end of the day, like, the books ended up standing for, not even the books themselves, but the person behind the books.
Yes.
I don't know. I have a complicated relationship with that whole thing right now, so.
No, and it's something that I've seen. I think Orion Black put out a message on Twitter stating what needed to be said, because some people were having those conflicting issues. And it's also something that me and a guest way back when we talked about this, because like we've had positive influences like into fantasy. Like, this was like a gateway into this kind of world, and in the end we had this author who was like, not for something, and it's just, that's fucking shite. That's shit. Their idea was shit. Fuck turfs, as Rick Perry said in the past, and how we were going to say it now, fuck turfs. But there's something that Daniel Radcliffe said, and I'm totally going to butcher it, but like, even though this author stood for a shit position, we as individuals got something positive from it. And, we also made something that wasn't from the author. We made our own ideas. What kind of wizard we are. That's not them profiting from our ideas. It's us trying to like finding a happy place and what we wish could be. Totally went away from the quote. Totally don't know what it said anymore.
That's okay. The feeling is there. The emotions are there.
Yeah. And we can make a smart decision on how we want to kind of go forward with this. Like, do we go to the movies? Maybe not. Maybe we just pirate everything.
Yeah.
But I think that Orion said it. It might come up in some of, I don't know if it's everything. I'm pretty sure everything was pre-shot, so I don't know if it will come up. But I feel like the cast understands, and from what they've done in the past, they're showing us who they stand with and what kind of ideas they stand for.
Yeah, except for Hagrid.
Wait, what did Hagrid do? Sorry, I don't remember.
No, the Robbie Coltrane, the actor that played Hagrid, was like on Rowling's side. Was basically like.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go.
And there was another actor too, and I don't remember who that was. But I was like, okay, it makes sense. All the like older ones.
Right.
Essentially.
Womp, big womp. Unfortunate.
Womp womp. Yeah. Yeah, and I am torn between that all the time.
Yeah.
It's it's hard, but I enjoy because the thing is I trust the cast and the crew at Dimension 20 to to be responsible, and I trust them, so enjoying this season for me is not as difficult as some other decisions regarding Harry Potter that I've made in the past.
Right.
Trying to kind of where that line is drawn for me personally, but
No, I gotcha. And
yeah.
I mean, we're probably still gonna watch this because it doesn't like influence JK's bankroll, so I guess we're good,
Oh no.
fine.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
maybe there is something in the future that they haven't said yet, you know? Maybe
Yeah,
somewhere in the 3 episodes.
yeah, I think so.
But I guess
So Adrian,
yeah.
just to kind of divert a little bit,
Go ahead.
what do you think your wand would end up looking like with your magic?
Oh my goodness. Bria, help me out here. No. I you know, I don't know. I'm gonna let me think about it, but I'm gonna turn the question around. I'm gonna reverse Uno this and see what you have already in mind while I ponder this, because I don't think I've ever thought of it this hard. Because part of me wants it to be creative, but am I that creative? And if I am, what creative style that I've done in the past is going to influence that? Sorry, that's where I'm at right now mentally. Do you have
Yeah.
an idea?
Um, when I think about it, I truly have not thought about this question that long. It came to mind, and I was like, what would I look like? When I first think about it, I feel like it would be something cool, like all twisty and like,
Hmm.
but with like teal and gold and like kind of like glittery a little bit, just like a long kind of like thin thing that just like yeah, just like kind of like rope almost that just like looks like teal and gold woven into it. I think would look pretty cool. I feel like that would be my magic manifested.
Okay, I've got it, and I'm trying to think about like, I guess I kind of wove it into after I decided. It's just gonna be this kind of like very sturdy material. I don't know what, but the color is going to be this royal, like dark purple or something like that. And it's going to have this grip near the end. And I don't know, the grip, all I was thinking is like kind of like three little like circlets around it. And it just, so I can have a hold of it. But I think when I thought of that, I'm like, purple. Like back then, I was told that I couldn't like purple because people said, purple's for, I can't. I don't want to say it because it's not
You can
true.
say it. It's what idiots say.
Yeah, exactly. And gay people, only gay guys like purple, and I hated that for the longest time. Before I kind of came over my kind of idea of what it meant to be called other things. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that would have been like a moment where I'm like, wait, no, I can't like this, but it is part of who I am. I do fucking love purple, dude. um,
Yeah. You can fucking love purple, dude.
and
Like,
yeah, exactly. And I think that would
so
have been my
stupid.
wand when I was, what is it, 10, 12, 13, whenever they decide to get a wand. But
I
also
think it's supposed to
practical.
be 11.
11, there we go.
But if you're in the American exchange program, they brought you in at like 17 or something for some
Right.
reason. So,
Which is an interesting choice on its own. Yeah, no. I've overcome that, and what? Fuck them. Fuck them idiots.
them idiots, dude. Nah. Well, that's cool. I really like that there's some things that are a part of that universe that you have to kind of change for this parody.
Hmm.
That's like, that makes it interesting in itself. And I really loved that your wand doesn't choose you, but it's unique to you in the way that it's created for you
Right.
via magic. Like your magic creates it. I
Exactly.
think that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, amazing, amazing stuff.
Abria's a rock star. She
Yeah.
really is. I adore her.
You know, what's going to happen the next 6 months when we see her again?
What's gonna happen the next 6 months? See me in 6 months, dude.
Right, exactly. What else is she going to do? It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I have the biggest like friend crush on Abria. Like I'm just like I just so bad. Like, you're the coolest person. Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
have you been watching the Exandria Unlimited, the Critical Role?
I watched a little bit of it, but it's hard for me to do those longer campaigns that aren't edited and look and polished and nice. The I know it is edited already, but like I don't know. I try to watch Critical Role. I got up to episode 11 of the first campaign, and it was just so much.
Oh yeah, I have not even. This is the first Critical Role D and D season. I'll
Right.
say that, like the first D&D season of Critical Role that I've actually started to watch and have kind of intentions on continuing to watch. So,
Because this one's also like what 8 episodes in this one. Like,
oh, is it? I don't know about the. I didn't know how many episodes were planned. If
I knew it was a short amount. It wasn't as extended as the campaigns, but I think it's gonna be. I might watch it after it's all over because then I can just watch it at 2 times speed. I know it's a lot, but it's how I can able to kind of like manage any like the large pauses or anything because my mind wanders really easily. Because if it's
oh, for sure.
consistently not hooked because everyone's counting dice, like as a DM I can handle it because I'm like, okay, what's my next move and everything. But like when I'm just watching, I'm like, math is hard. I get it. Can I count for you?
Yeah.
I can't count for you. I'm here over here on this other side. But yeah, I'll probably
Yeah.
watch it later. But I'm excited.
So, with that said,
Hmm.
next week is gonna come sooner than later. Will are we gonna do this again next week?
If you have time. But I really
Would love
enjoyed
to.
this.
Yeah. Shoot, you want to wrap it up and do
Yeah,
like
we.
a
Yeah, I
little?
got you. No worries.
Go for it. Go for it.
Well, this is a lot of speculation for sure, but I'm excited to see what's next. I guess we'll talk to each other and let y'all listen for next week on the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll let you listen to just Adrian and I going on and on about our obsessions.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's amazing. It's gonna be a good time. But yeah. Well, thank y'all for listening. My name is Adrian.
And I'm Lauren.
Go have some fun.